And welcome back to episode 14 of Club Conversations. Today is going to be a little bit different of a conversation because traditionally we're talking strategy, we're talking insights, we're talking ways that we can continue to grow our businesses, ways that we can innovate our marketing strategies. And today we're going to talk a little bit different of a topic. And this topic today that we're going to talk about is something that isn't really traditionally discussed. I mean, it's kind of talked about in different groups and definitely in some of the people that I talk to, we talk about this pretty frequently. But today we're going to talk about something that's been happening in the marketing world that contributes to both the rise of fake gurus and what I would consider as misleading marketing courses. Now, it's probably not going to be my most popular episode because there's a lot of people that are subscribed to these courses and a lot of people that are maybe swear by these courses. And initially, I want to make a disclosure that in this podcast, I'm not putting a wide net of every course out there is a terrible course to be a part of. Not saying that all coaches are terrible people. I'm just putting this out there because I've been seeing a lot more just in the marketing world, marketing space, that it feels like it's now time to talk about this on the podcast. Now, for those of us that are in the marketing world, entrepreneurs that are thinking about expanding their marketing, it's become definitely a bigger thing over the past, I would say, 5 years, and most recently, probably after COVID, with everyone working from home. And it seems like it's been a mass proliferation of both fake gurus and misleading marketing courses that have kind of popped up because of the work from home era. And so when I talk about fake gurus and misleading marketing courses, I talk about these people that are making false expectations or putting out false promises that are never going to be fulfilled. Now, when we think about it, the first thing I'd like to talk about is kind of the dangers and kind of what gets people in is the allure of quick success. Now, there's a lot of people out there that really want to hit it big. They want to hit gold within a 5 second period. They want to go pan and find that big 14 karat diamond and say that they were an overnight success. Now, over the course of the past couple of years within educational settings that I've been in, people that I've discussed with, and even successful people that have, built multi-million dollar companies over 250 million, over a billion. Like, it's when you talk to these people, they all have a common thread, and it was not something that happened overnight. These people have faced bankruptcies before. These people have failed multiple times before they've even done it right. Some people are 30 years into the career. Some people are 5 years into their career. Some people are 10 years before they hit that one little lick of success. So when it comes to kind of the allure of quick success, we kind of know just from a broad perspective in marketing that success does not happen overnight. Now, if we think about this from a campaign level, you don't run an ad and within a day get $1 million worth of purchases, or you don't automatically get a 10% click through rate. So when you think about advertising, it's a long-term game. When we talk to our clients, it's something that has to be optimized and continually worked on. That's obviously why a lot of our clients hire us, is because we've got the skills and expertise and knowledge to help them, build better optimized campaigns. But we're never promising a client a certain click-through rate, a certain conversion rate, a certain return on ad spend, because there's so many different factors at play. Now, if we broke this down into the advertising world, there's no process, there's no formula, there's no course that can tell you exactly how to get a 4 times or even 2 times return on ad spend. Now, that might seem kind of strange for us to say, but if you think about it, there's never a perfect world where you can always guarantee some sort of consumer success when we're dealing with customer behavior. Now, why I say that is because you have to think about all the extrinsic and extrinsic things that are happening in the different macro and micro I can't talk today, macro and micro environmental issues. Because think about this: if we are running ads during Black Friday, your ads cost are going to go up significantly because the marketplace is full of advertisers trying to get their Black Friday deals out. Now, if we're advertising on a Saturday in mid-June, our advertising cost is probably going to be a lot lower. And so if we put those factors together, if you had the same conversion rate, let's say your cost is double on Black Friday, that takes away the guarantee of getting people at $5. If you've traditionally gotten them at $5, now your cost is double to reach a certain amount of people. Now it's $10. And so that guarantee of $5 per conversion has essentially gone out the door. Now, the other thing to think about is the way that inflation's going. If we're looking at consumer products, businesses are tightening up. Everyone's talked about recession over the past 2 years. We obviously all can see the effect of, how terrible the economy is right now. And so from a broad perspective, consumers traditionally are going to be a little bit tighter with their budgets and with their wallets. And so it's going to be a little bit harder to get people to purchase or buy something that's a little bit higher priced, even smaller price items. And so kind of going back to the allure of quick success, these companies, these coaches, these courses are incredible marketers. They're incredible at marketing themselves, and they're incredible at telling these stories that draw people in. And in my mind, it's kind of like the temptation of risky shortcuts in a golf game that can ultimately lead to trouble. Now, there's the caveat that sometimes you have a shot, and if you just hook it a little bit, get it around the tree and get on the green, you have that one magical shot and it hits. And there's definitely the possibility that if you sign up for a course, if you sign up for something marketing related, some sort of lead gen opportunity, some sort of company that provides a certain cost per lead, sometimes those work. And sometimes you hit that draw, that hook perfectly, lands on the green, and you go, man, that was a great shot. Now, if you're anything like me, there's probably about a 99% chance that if you're taking that risky shot, you're either going to end up farther back by hitting a tree. You're going to end up in a dicier situation because you're going to, maybe top it and put it further into the forest. Maybe you're going to draw it in the opposite direction, and maybe it's going to go, on the opposite side of the fairway into the rough again or into trees. And now you've got even a tougher shot. And so by comparing those two things, we're kind of opening ourselves up to the possibility of setting ourselves farther back than taking steps further. Now, the kind of the basic of these courses that we see are there's two categories that are traditionally kind of pushed out in the mainstream marketplace right now. Now, there's one that's centered around kind of the social media manager, kind of the marketing professional world, where you can run a marketing agency from your house, from your phone, and you don't even have to work. Now, that's one of them. Now, the other is more of a lead generation side from a business perspective, where a company can get you some sort of result, some sort of promise for a set amount of money, and they guarantee it with a money back guarantee. Now, there's a couple different elements that we can pull back from this, but we're going to dive a little bit further into the lead generation services, and we'll touch on the kind of the social media and the job side later. But kind of the first thing that we wanted to touch on, since this podcast is geared mainly towards business owners and professionals, is the lead generation side and guaranteed lead conversions. Now, I've been in a couple different Facebook groups where they're basically set up for business owners, for marketing agencies, and it's these big Facebook groups who are marketing agency owners get in conversation. They start talking about the problems that they're having, fulfillment issues, things like that. Now, there's obviously the coin and term of agency margins and how you work with different partners, different contractors, whether you outsource, you keep everything in-house. Everyone does things differently, and there's nothing bad about that per se. Now, what we're seeing in these groups and what we're seeing in the general marketplace is these companies are approaching companies and offering some sort of guarantee around, we can get X amount of leads for X amount of price, money back guarantee. Now, that sounds pretty amazing, doesn't it? Because if you're a business owner, let's say you're a home services company, and you have a current acquisition cost of $100. If someone comes to you and says that you can get a $50 acquisition cost guaranteed for clients, you're going to jump at that and say this is a great deal, especially if it's a money back guarantee, right? Because you're going to get your money back. Now, the problem is not all companies that do this, but a majority of companies do this. Is you have to take into consideration this company is doing ad spend on your behalf. And so if we're talking about, let's say you're buying 10 leads at $50 per lead. And so that's, let's say $500. If that business is banking on you converting leads from ads for $25, let's say, and having $25 of margin on their end, they're only spending $250 in ad spend. Now, let's say they spend $250 in ad spend. They only get 8 clients, and they technically provides you a money back guarantee. Traditionally, the only two ways that you'll get your money back are one, they'll refund you the money that you spent on agency fees, not ad spend. So technically, the money is not guaranteed back, or they've only spent money on ad spend. And so the money back guarantee is coming out of their pocket, which we know most people do not want to take money out of their own pocket, especially when it comes to advertising on a large scale. So if we think about, that perspective of money is being spent from a cost of goods perspective to generate these leads, there is in no way, shape, or form, if they're doing this on a good basis, a way for them to technically give you back their money. Now, the problem that we're seeing is within contracts for some of these services, they're providing crazy terms such as you have to call leads 35 times within a 3-day period to qualify for the money back guarantee. Or there has to be some sort of crazy condition that there is no way for you to get the money back. Now, this is actually proven across some courses, and you can actually look up YouTube videos, Reddit threads, and actually outlines a lot of these courses. So one of the big things to think about is as you're getting into the lead generation side, if someone comes to you and says we can guarantee a certain amount of ad spend for a certain amount of clients, if they can guarantee / promise / put their life on that, I'm pretty concerned. And that goes into spotting a fake guru or a maybe potentially shady company. Because if you think about it, in the advertising consumer behavior world, whenever we talk to clients about advertising metrics, whenever we talk about success, we typically outline success in one function of return on investment or return on ad spend. And the other function is we look at the amount of impressions that it's going to take that we estimate to get clicks based on average click-through rates, based on average cost per thousand impressions. And we try to work backwards and say, based on our estimations, here's what we would estimate a low cost per lead. Here's what we would estimate a high cost per lead and a mid or average cost per lead. And here's what we would expect, but we can't guarantee that. Now, we use mathematical equations based on that to estimate kind of conversion rates, things like that, which seems like a logical decision. Now, if we were to tell people that we could realistically get them a certain amount of results, if we said that we had verifiable credentials, but you look us up and we don't really have verifiable credentials, or if we even focus on selling our courses more than delivering content, it might be red flags of someone that might not be running a legit lead gen business. Now, you'll see a lot of people, they'll start kind of pushing into these too good to be true methods. Now, one of the too good to be true methods is you start getting these offers for outrageous things. If leads cost you $250, sometimes these companies will push into you can get these leads for $50. Now, while it might sound too good to be true, it typically is. So we want to make sure that we avoid things that look good to be too good to be true, or if we're willing to take the chance or the risk, we want to make sure that we verify the credentials. Now, how do we verify credentials? Because that's a big question. How do we know that someone's lying to us? How do we know that someone's not? Now, if you think about it, if you went to a counselor and that counselor told you that they had experience helping people and they left out the fact that they don't have a degree or an actual license that they're held by a standard, do you really want to go to that person? Now, some people are going to say, absolutely, it might be a little bit cheaper. Who cares about education? If you feel that way, absolutely go to it. Feel free. But if you think about it from a legal standpoint, if you think about it from an experience standpoint, you'd probably rather go to a counselor that has some sort of bachelor's degree, some sort of master's degree, and some sort of license that they're held to some sort of code of conduct. Because in the marketing world, unfortunately, there are really no ethical or agencies that hold people accountable. And so outside of obviously fair business practices, there's no licensure that marketing agencies have to get or business owners, obviously outside of the fact that they can get sued, but there's no code or board that's holding us accountable. And the unfortunate part is most industries such as real estate, mortgages, financial services, things like that, they all have some sort of board that if they have some sort of misconduct, they're going to get some sort of internal investigation. The problem with marketing is most agencies are not held accountable for their actions. Obviously, everyone makes mistakes. Everything happens. But at the end of the day, there needs to be some sort of accountability set. And so that's why if there's no accountability set, when you're hiring an agency, when something sounds too good to be true, if there's social proof, you need to make sure that you actually look in the background of that individual, look on Reddit threads, look at different things, because what we've continued to see over the courses that we've seen all over these false gurus is there's actually courses out there, and it's actually been proven that some courses, there's, let's say, 3 different segments a part of a course. A $99 course gets in to talk about how to generate better leads for your business at $25 per form submission. Now, segment 1 might be kind of an intro to the course. Segment 2, let's say, is the meat and the potatoes of the course. And then section 3 is maybe optimizing your ads. Now, there's actually been verifiable proof across some large courses that step 1, after you complete step 1, which is literally just onboarding and maybe talking about what this course is going to talk about, maybe an introduction about who the person is, there is a social proof that before you're able to go to section 2, you have to leave a raving review about how much the course has changed your business, how successful it's been, and how incredible it is. And if you think about that, they haven't even taken the course and they have to write this review. So those reviews that you're seeing on their website, the reviews that they're marketing you to, they might not be 100% accurate. Now, that doesn't say that it's not accurate, but it's something to be considered and something to think about is while these people might be leaving reviews, there might be something in a broader story to think about before you just take their word for it and to take the course. Now, I've actually had personal experiences with this. I've never actually taken a legit scam course, but I have gotten sold into different courses. Now, from my experience, and I've watched it time and time again, so I can tell exactly how it goes. I follow these courses. I see people post about this all the time. And the sad part about courses or coaches is a lot of them, there's a different funnel for each one, but it's all the same. Now, if you think about it from a funnel perspective, obviously every business is a funnel. But if you think about it, if Target's main priority was selling you clothes that would then make you have a rash, that you would have to buy some sort of their lotion or their cream to solve that rash, then you would have to eat something from Target to make that rash better with the cream. That sounds kind of like a scam or a little bit like taking advantage. Is that correct? Now, think about it this way. Most courses, coaches, things like that, they have some sort of free opportunity that they're going to give you to access some of the resources. Traditionally, this looks like a Facebook mastermind group. Sometimes this looks like a Facebook group to target it around certain niches. And what these individuals do is they bring you in the door with a free offer. You can get access to the community, access to members, and all it is it's a safe space to talk about what you want to talk about, get ideas from members, things like that. Now, what you don't realize, and a lot of people don't really get this, is when you join that group, let's say it's a mastermind around generating better business leads. That's the first hook. But if you think about, the next step, funnel number 1 is the $99 course that they're going to have you buy that's going to help you run Facebook ads. Now, it might seem like a small little detail, but you get in $99 and you get access to the course. Now, the next part is there is a funnel further than that after you complete that course, typically there is some sort of higher level mastermind, higher level coaching group that might be closer to $2,000 that you have to pay to get access to better resources, better coaching, better support, maybe even one-to-one support or coaching from that individual. Typically, this looks like a Zoom call where multiple people jump on, they talk to the person, get a little bit of hype. And then what's even worse is sometimes there's an even further step, like a premium offering that's like $10,000 that if you've passed the $99 course and the $2,000 course, you might have to pay $10,000 to get one-to-one coaching in Costa Rica that you can go learn from. And again, some of these, they're actually legit courses and they help and people have had success from them. But based on the amount of courses out there and based on the amount of people that are doing these courses with lack of experience, I can tell you without a shade of a doubt that there are more fake gurus, more fake courses, or more courses out there that have stolen material than actual legit original courses. And that's why I'm building this. Now, what's interesting is there's actually multiple Netflix documentaries about this subject. There's multiple YouTubers that actually talk about this quite significantly. But there's actually a new Netflix documentary that I highly recommend that you check it out. It's about a Facebook group that turned into essentially a cult that requires their group or encourages their group members to pay thousands of dollars to find their true love. And unfortunately, based on this documentary, based on the information provided, it seems like that these people were kind of brainwashed and manipulated into thinking that they were being helped, and outside of that they were losing lots of money and not being helped. Now, where you can kind of make sure that you protect yourself is you need to make sure you're educated. You need to, anytime that you think about a marketing course, whether it's a guru, whether you're looking at hiring a marketing agency, anything like that, you need to make sure you do your due diligence. Ask for case studies, ask for client lists, talk to past clients, see what their experience is like, because you want to make sure that you're actually verifying the information that someone is telling you. Because as marketers, we're extremely good at marketing our businesses, and sometimes it's a little bit too good to be true. So, from that perspective, it's really important to educate. And secondly, you want to make sure that you have realistic expectations in marketing. Whether you're looking at marketing courses, mentors, agencies, you want to make sure that you can actually set realistic expectations with that individual to make sure that the benchmarks and the learnings that you're going to get or the value that you're going to get aligns with what you're paying. If you're paying $99 to make $1,000,000, understand that that's probably not a realistic expectation. And there's probably a very little chance that you're going to hit that. Now, if someone came to you and said, you need to invest $250,000 into a professional service and advertising to make $1,000,000, that sounds a little bit more, obviously, a little bit more realistic and maybe not something you want to do, but maybe something that you should look into. And so, from that perspective, always make sure that you're educating and protecting yourself and setting realistic expectations in marketing. Now, something I wanted to talk about is there is a true cost of falling for false promises. Not only behind the financial loss of a false or bad course, there's also the impact of motivation, time, and potential derailment of legitimate marketing efforts by kind of going over these different courses. Now, in my opinion, it's kind of like the setback of when a golfer faces a risky shot, it leads to a penalty, and it obviously gives you a little bit bad of a opportunity to make a better score. Now, in conclusion, this might have sounded like a soapbox, and if it does, I apologize. But based on the amount of people that I see generating courses that are putting out false promises or false expectations, I felt like it was time to address this. When it comes to lead generation, I have so many businesses that we've worked with, so many people I've talked to, business owners that have such a distrust for marketers just based on the fact that they've been burned so many times, and it seems like it continually happens. And so, in my opinion, it's really important to make sure that you research a company, whether you're looking at a course or some sort of lead generation solution. Make sure that you talk to clients, make sure you do your due diligence, and then ensure that you protect and educate yourself and set realistic expectations when it comes to working with a company, getting a course, things like that. Because at the end of the day, if something sounds too good to be true in marketing, it traditionally is. The last thing I'll leave with you, and the most real life example, is if someone has some sort of set process in marketing that they say technically brings in, or it's a secret, or is a set process that is proven, true and proven, it's traditionally not. Because if you think about it, if you had the recipe for the best mac and cheese, would you sell that recipe for $99, or would you keep it and sell it for $1,000,000 to the right buyer? That's something that can be taken into consideration. So while I've been on my soapbox for 20 minutes, I'll let you be. Enjoy the rest of your day. Thanks for listening to Club Conversations, a marketing podcast. And as always, if you enjoyed this episode and you felt like you got value, we'd love it if you left a review, sent me a message on how we can improve, topics to talk about. And as always, we'll see you on the next tee.